Alright, so I was just doing this OSPF lab, and notice that there are two ways to change the cost, change the bandwidth. If you want to see just check the behavior of OSPF. Not that in a production environment that you'd want to have this 100 meg. Of course, you'd want to use the full gig, but if you're just playing with it just to see what it does to the cost, there's two ways of doing it. Let me show you. So I'm going to go into configure terminal, and I'm just going to adjust this link right here to 100 meg. So I'm going to go into interface, gigabit Ethernet 0/2, and I'll set the bandwidth. So 100 meg is 100,000 kilobits per second. We hit question mark here. It's in kilobits per second. So that's 100,000. So 100 meg is 100,000, right? So we have, this is your kilobits. There's your meg. It's in factors of 1,000. So that should equal. So when I go to, oh yeah, I have to do the same thing to the other side. That's right. So we're just doing the same thing to both sides of the link. Bandwidth, question mark, once in kilobits per second. So that's 100,000. So again, we're setting it to a bandwidth of 100 megs a second, down from 1 gig. And we'll go back into privilege exec mode, and we'll just run a show IP OSPF. Well, let's see. First we'll do interface GI 0/1 include cost. It starts with the case does matter here. You have to put in a capital C, otherwise you will not see it. So you can see right here it's a cost of 10, and do the same thing for here. OSPF interface GI 0/1. Well, I didn't do the include cost, but you can see right here a cost of 10. And if we head over here to R2, we'll just do a show IP OSPF interface 0/1, and you can see I didn't touch that one. We have a cost of 1. And I believe we have an auto reference bandwidth set. I'll just show you. All three routers are set to an auto cost reference bandwidth of 1,000 megs per second. These are in megabits per second. So that's the reason, by the way, that we're getting the cost increase when I set this to 100 meg, because by default this is set to 100 meg, right? Okay. Now there's another way to do this. Watch this. Oops. Actually go to interface GI 0/2, and I'll type in speed, and notice how this is in megabits per second. So much easier to do in your head than I think kilobits per second, especially when you get up to a gig, per second, and 10 gigs a second. So, whoops, sorry. So I'll just type in, let's just type in 10, what the heck. So we should see the cost automatically adjust. So I'll just do a speed of 10, and we'll go back over here and do a show IP route OSPF, and we should see that cost increase. We did not. So the cost is still 10. when I did this earlier, I set this to 1,000 and it worked. Let's see if that does anything. Okay, let's see if that overrides it. It might, you know what might be happening here is it might be overriding. Nope, the bandwidth command. So you can see we have a bandwidth command, and also we have the speed set as well. Okay, so apparently the bandwidth command takes hold over the speed command. But now watch what happens. And I suppose let's do a show run interface GI 0/1. Yeah, and you can see that bandwidth and the speed command are both in there. Okay, so let's say if I take that bandwidth command out. So all I have to do is no bandwidth. That just defaults it back to whatever, interface I've got. And yeah, there's no bandwidth command in there. So now it says speed 1000. And let's see, we have now okay, so now we're back to a cost of 1 because of this because the speed command is set to 1000 and there's no bandwidth command. So let's do speed 10. And I'll go back over here and do so I'm setting the speed to 10 megs per second between these two routers, right? Let's see if that impacts the cost. There we go. 101. So if I have the bandwidth command already set and then set the speed command, the bandwidth takes precedent over the speed command. However, if I just leave the bandwidth command alone, I can type in speed and then I can type it in megabits per second. So that way it's only by a factor of, so it's in megs per second, so it's a little bit easier to do that math in your head than transmitting a gig per second to, 1,000 or to 100. Much easier to think to do that addition and subtraction. So you can see I have 101, and I believe I set that speed to 10. Speed is set to 10. Correct? IP OSPF interface GI 0/1. This will also tell me what the cost is. So you can see the cost is 100 plus it's adding 1, so it's got a cost of 101. So plus it's adding another cost of 1. Oh, I see what it's doing. Yeah. The 172. So it's a cost. So it's 100 to go out this interface plus a cost of 1, and I believe this is where the 172.16 network resides. Right? Yep. So it's a cost of 100 to go across here, and the cost of 1 to get here. And that's how it's calculating that. So yeah. So that's how the speed in the bandwidth command works. I'm going to try this out for EIGRP and see if I get a similar result.